Hello and welcome back to Let's All Laugh At, the football podcast that thrives at someone else's expense. I'm George and I'm joined by Johnny and Andrew again this week. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad at all.
Yeah, I'm good. Sad the Formula One's ending this weekend, but yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't follow the Formula One myself, but I know it's a big thing. I mean, I've heard a lot about Lewis Hamilton at the minute. So yeah, I won't pretend I know what I'm talking about in that regard, but for fear of being laughed at.
And poor old George Russell. Felt so sorry for him on Sunday. I felt sorry for him.
Yeah, I think does he support Arsenal? I mean, Lewis Hamilton supports Arsenal, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because he looks like Theo Walcott, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
George, carry on.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, to start with, then, unfortunately, it's a shame you've had to ask me to carry on because we are going to have to start with a very serious topic. It's the one that's on everyone's minds at the minute. The issue of racism in football has resurfaced itself again. This was stemmed mainly from the situation at Millwall, for those who don't know, on the Saturday. Some of the Millwall fans, some of the 2,000 fans that were there in the stadium for their first game back, booed the players taking a knee in favour of the fight against racism in football. And there was talk of the Millwall players as well. They stood arm in arm as opposed to kneeling against QPR. Well, the QPR players knelt. I mean, the QPR players even knelt in celebration at the end of when they scored against Millwall, which I thought was quite funny. And then also as well against PSG, the fourth official. Whole game getting called off because the fourth official alleged racial abuse. All the players walked off and the game had to be rescheduled to the next day. So before we start talking about this, I want to make a couple of things clear in regards to the show. First of all, there's a lot of people out there who are going to, well, there will be people out there who listen to this and think, we shouldn't be talking about this. This is political. You want to keep football and politics separate. From what I've gathered in my life, and because I used to be very political in the past, believe it or not. From what I've gathered and the experiences I've had, very few people don't enjoy talking about politics when it's their own politics that they're hearing. People love having their own opinions parroted back at them, and I'm guilty of that myself. It's very easy for me to fall into that trap. It's very easy for anyone. So when people say they want to keep politics out of football, it's not something I pay particularly close attention to because it is our show. We can talk about what we like. A lot of us, at least a few of us on this panel want to talk about it. So as far as I'm concerned, we're going to talk about it. If you don't want to hear about that, then you're more than welcome to tune into another show. That's absolutely fine by me. You have the freedom to do that, but we're going to talk about it regardless. And the second thing as well is I see a lot of, when it comes to controversial opinions like this, a lot of people who supported the Millwall gesture, for instance, because there were a lot of people out there who think what they did was right and justify it. A lot of people say that they don't want to hear anything from these people. They want them to, if you support this, click off, don't watch this video, unsubscribe from me, whatever. I don't want to do that. I want these people to listen. I want anyone that thinks whatever it is to listen to what we have to say and start a conversation about it. And maybe we can educate them and maybe educate ourselves as well, because none of us we're all white. We're all white guys. Andrew, not so much because Andrew's Egyptian, but myself and Johnny certainly are. So we're no experts in this. We have a lot to learn. Yeah, I think it was just important to say, yeah, we're going to talk about this and we're going to let you listen to us as well. If you don't want to, that's fine, but we're not going to sugarcoat anything we have to say. Yeah, now that said, Johnny, I know you want to talk about this a lot, so I'll let you go first.
I listened to a bit of the commentary, Millwall versus Derby on Saturday on TalkSport, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, to be honest. And they're booing anti-racism, and that just. If you were there on that Saturday, you were one of them gammons. I'll call them a gammon. That's what they are. There's another word for that. You're booing anti-racism. I mean, what kind of fucking planet are you on? Do you know what I mean? And of course there are people out there that want to go into politics and football and all that. I don't have to go through people's heads. And on Twitter was very A lot of people were in favour of what some Millwall fans were doing. It wasn't all, because I know I've got a few Millwall fans who are season ticket holders and they couldn't get a ticket, and they're absolutely ashamed of their own fan base, because Millwall do a lot for their local community, and I felt sorry for Millwall as a club, to be honest. And it was a sad day for football. Not just Millwall, it happened to Colchester as well, and the chairman rightly come out and said, well, you know what, if you don't support it, don't come. And people that don't want to talk about racism, they're part of the problem, because they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. And we're very, very easy in this country to to look at places like Russia and Bulgaria. I mean, I've said so many times on my podcast and this podcast, we look at other countries and we go, oh, they should be banned because they're a disgrace. We got our own house in order. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not good enough. It's 2020 and we're still talking about racism in football. It's just, I felt so sorry for, is it Roman Marler, the Millwall right back? Do you know what I mean? His statement was heartbreaking because, you know, he felt attacked by his own fans. And I just, absolutely abhorrent behaviour. And fair play to the PSG and the Istanbul players the other night for walking off. That's a great message that we don't stand for it. And Neymar is, you know, somebody gets a lot of stick, Neymar, but he's one of the first PSG players to go, no, we're not playing. And fair play to him. And disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. I mean, I heard what the full official said. He tried to say that it was something to do with him being Romanian and it was lost in translation. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a racist slur. And Demba Ba, fair play to him as well, because he stood up for his teammate and stood up for black people worldwide, because it's just wrong, this racism. I'm getting really, really fed up with it. But people don't want to listen to it on this podcast or my podcast or whatever. Do you know what? If you want to be racist, fuck off, because I'll call you out, and because it's wrong. And we'll have a laugh on this podcast because we all love football and we'll have a bit of banter, mainly taking the piss out of Arsenal. But do you know what I mean? It's just I'm fed up with it, absolutely fed up with it. And fair play to the Millwall fans who condemned it, because it wasn't all Millwall fans. I just made that very clear, because Millwall do get a lot of stick for the past behaviours of some Millwall fans, not all. And it's just a sad day for football. And that's about all I've got to say on the matter, really.
Okay, Andrew, can you top that?
No, I mean, I fully agree. I just don't understand. Fine, if you don't agree with it, just don't react. Why do you need to boo? It's just like for players who are from different ethnicities. I think for Millwall generally, their fans put off players from signing for them, because the Millwall historically has a reputation of being like quite aggressive fan base, and as a club they do lots of things for the community, but some of their fans let them down all the time, and players are going to remember this. People won't sign. Like, I think some of the people have said, I think it was Gabriel Bonlahor said that he was playing for Millwall, he'd see out December and then hand in a transfer request. And I think it's something that the fans need to take responsibility, because their actions really reflect badly on their club, and that's not good. So, yeah, I mean, with the Demba Ba thing, I think people have always talked about walking off due to racial slurs. It was good that someone finally, did it, and because there's been times where I think it was Balotelli wanted the match to be abandoned because he was getting racist abuse and nothing ever happened. And, it was good to finally see like some sort of action done. So, yeah, I mean, I think for both Millwall, that official, and all the things we're seeing, people just need to, they need to educate themselves, because someone based on the colour of their skin shouldn't be judged. You wouldn't like to be judged before you even met someone, so don't.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree with a lot of what's being said there. In regards to you mentioned the Colchester chairman, Johnny. I totally sympathise with the sentiment behind it. I'm not necessarily sure if it's the right action to do. I mean, so a lot of people are going to call me an apologist, but I believe in freedom of speech. If people want to boo at people kneeling at the beginning of the match, or they don't want to do it at all, that's their right. I don't think there's anything, there's anything wrong necessarily with people doing it, in terms of they shouldn't be allowed to do it. But I agree. But I certainly agree with you that it's not necessary. I mean, even people the argument that people make is that they're not booing. It's Black Lives Matter they have a problem with, the organisation. They don't support that, and they feel like the Premier League is pushing it on them, and the players are pushing it on them by forcing people to doing the kneel at the beginning. So first of all, it's 1 minute before the game, so it's not even like they're pulling out banners in the middle of the game and stopping the game. So I don't understand that. And the second thing, even people I've spoken to and know that don't like Black Lives Matter and don't like what they stand for and what they do, or they don't support what they're doing in the effort to combat racism. They don't think it's the right way to go about it. Even they're like, well, no, you shouldn't boo it. Like you can't boo people kneeling for it, because especially if they've come out and said that it's not the organisation they support, it's the whole fight. Like Palace themselves even released a statement saying that our Black Lives Matter banners are not referencing any particular organisation. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. It's about the fight in general for equality and anti-discrimination in football. And people just don't want to listen to it because some people are actual racists, deliberately muddying the waters so that they can try and make their point stronger. And other people, it's just simply people who, like you say, aren't exposed to it enough and don't know enough about the situation and aren't used to living in a multicultural environment that are exposed to it and fall for it. And it is really difficult to see, but it is a problem we're going to have to face because there's no doubt, whether we like what Millwall did or not, there's a lot of football fans out there. You can argue if it's a minority or not, but if it is a minority, it's a significant minority that do agree with them and do feel that way. So it's something we're going to have to tackle, and we're going to have to be careful with how we deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Alex. Because I spoke to my mate Alex on Saturday night because he's a black man, and on WhatsApp I said to him, is it time they stop taking the knee? And he was like, well, no, because why? Because if players stop taking the knee, it should be down to choice. If players don't want to take the knee, they want to stand up. That's down to them. But I don't think we should stop this fight for equality, because if players stop doing it and stop calling out racism, then the racists win. You know what I mean? And it's just a very sad day. And I can't imagine waiting 9 months to go to a football match. And you're lucky enough, one of 2,000 people to go, and the first thing you do is boo anti-racism. I mean, it mystifies me. Just go and support your team. If you don't want to support the Black Lives Matter movement, that's down to you. And it's just a sad day, and we're still talking about racism. And so and with abuse, it's kind of like slightly different. But like with the poppy and stuff, like James McClean, he doesn't wear a poppy because for what happened in Ireland all them years ago, and he's absolutely right not to wear one. And the abuse he gets for not wearing a poppy, it's outrageous. It's like, well, no, he's just doing what he believes in. And
well, this is exactly what I mean about echo chambers. People are perfectly fine with things, gestures and poppies and all that, causes they support or causes they believe in. But when it's not a cause that they support or believe in, then all of a sudden it's politicising the game. Like, no, they're either both political or they're not. Make your mind up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if taking the knee's political, then the poppy's political, and then do we stop that? And then people get accused of abusing the heroes that died, for the poppy. So it's a very difficult one. But I just, it's very sad that we're still talking about it, really.
I think one of the issues for those people who are against it is they want a separation from football to society, but sport is basically a reflection of society. I think it's one concept. So, for instance, I think they had the Rainbow Laces campaign last week, and again, like people were saying, why is this coming to football? What has this got to do with football? Sport, like the Premier League or whoever, is trying to educate people so there's more equality. But then some people who may have, maybe have more discriminatory views don't like it because it highlights their problems with these things in society. Like, there is sometimes a bit too much political correctness as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like, I, for instance, could not believe there was people complaining that Jamie Vardy kind of kicked that flag. flag. And,
Did you see what he wrote on the flag as well? He wrote on the flag that he broke about supporting the Rainbow Laces campaign or whatever it was.
I think as well, there is sometimes like conflicting messages. So, for instance, John Barnes said, what was the official supposed to say? Like, the official could have said his name, could have said his number, could have said anything. Like,
could have just pointed to him and said that guy.
yeah. The whole the guy.
A few years and known it was Denver Bar. But yeah, I think this is the problem. Like, it's not the only time John Barnes has said this thing. I think when Liam Neeson did his comments as well, which were maybe John Barnes again, it's just giving, for instance, Talk Sport. I can understand some people's view. Talk Sport, for instance, they hire Trevor Sinclair, and Trevor Sinclair was racist to a white police officer. And then racism all the time. So, I think it.
Talk Sport's audience isn't exactly left wing either, are they?
I mean, they had Joey Barton as a pundit for 2 years or something. I loved him as a Newcastle player, I'll be honest, but he's a terrible person. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I think I'm sick and tired of the left wing, right wing, topic. I'm on the don't be a bell end wing. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, just because the colour of someone's skin or someone's gay or someone's whatever, it doesn't make
I'll
any
say
difference.
so. I think Brexit,
Oh yeah. Oh, the
and
big
being
word.
decisive. I think COVID. So, for instance, we made this political. We may as well talk about it. For COVID, you've seen people refer to people as COVIDiots. You saw Sky News constantly berating Dominic Cummings, saying he should be fired, he should be sacked. And what happened to those Sky News presenters this week? They've all been suspended because they broke COVID rules.
Yeah.
So these are the people who. So I can see why, like, people say, like, the left wing act perfect, but they're not perfect as well. I think we need to be, but with this matter, we need to be consistent, and that's why I think things like fans are saying isn't good.
No, I agree. The media definitely aren't helping things at all because we know how hypocritical they can be with themselves, left and right wing of the media. So it's just like you say, with such an important issue as this, we can't afford to have people, because at the end of the day, people nowadays, any excuse they have to jump on the media, they're going to take it. So that's really not a good position we have ourselves in. And Johnny, you mentioned as well about, also Andrew, you mentioned about how people don't want to admit their own beliefs or actions are racist. That's why they don't come around to it. I think another point as well, which is especially appropriate to Brits, is national identity. I think a lot of people here are so patriotic, for lack of a better term, but they're so attached to being British and they love their country so much that in order to say, they can't bring themselves to admit that we have a racism problem, because in order to say that Britain has a racism problem, that is saying that your country is fundamentally flawed and has a big problem that needs tackling, because that's what racism is. There's no getting around it. And a lot of people just can't bring themselves to do that because, like, it's almost like they see they're so connected to their country, they see it as an attack on themselves, like they're racist and they're the problem. And there's a lot of people who say that, if you support Britain, then you're racist or whatever. All the extremist stuff that goes on on Twitter and that doesn't help things at all. So I understand where it comes from, but at the same time, like, the two aren't mutually exclusive either. Like, you can still love your country whilst wanting to improve it and acknowledging there's a problem with it. Like, it's a lot more complex than just, oh, you're apologizing for a racist country. Like, no, it's not that at all. Like, we're acknowledging the problem and we want to sort it.
I think one thing is, this is just my personal opinion, that there is a lot of tolerance in Britain, and I think we sometimes, like, if you compare it to some other countries, France, Spain, Italy, Switzerland, that doesn't mean we still don't need to improve. But I think there is there is tolerance in this country, and equality and stuff like that, and there are good things. But there's still things clearly with this Millwall stuff and so forth that, we need to improve. Like, the one I always remember is the Chelsea fans with the PSG fan on the tube.
Yeah.
That was shocking, really, and that's, so still a long way to go, to be honest, to sort it. We just need a consistent message and everything. And I think there is, like, more and more education about it. But,
no, I want to clarify as well. Like, I'm not trying to say that Britain is fundamentally a bad country, or even, that's exactly what I'm trying to say, is that, there's lots of good things about it. And you're right, there is a lot of tolerance in this country. I'm not trying to paint, everyone in these, like everyone from Burnley or Middlesbrough or whatever, as a racist, because they're not. I know the vast majority of people in this country aren't racist, and I don't think the majority of people in this country are racist. And a lot of people might think me mad for that, but I don't believe that. There's a lot of good here, but any racism is bad much, any racism is too much. So we've got to try and weed it out as best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the last point is just, I think unfortunately with the B word Brexit, it's gave people that do have unfortunately racist undertones or opinions, it's kind of given them a voice. They before Brexit, they would keep their opinions to themselves, but when you've got the media and certain politicians who also, and people who have a platform who share, anti-Semitic or racist views, it gives people who follow them, if they can say it, I can say it, and it's wrong. But I think we've got to carry on calling them out, because if we stay silent, then they win. And we are a tolerant country, and there are a lot of good, but unfortunately there's a lot of bad as well. But if we're in it together, as we say. I think we've got to carry on doing and just call them out. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's exactly why I want to tackle this topic today, because we put it off for a long time. We tackled it briefly at the very start of the series, but like we haven't really properly talked about it. And you're right, it is our responsibility to call it out where we see it, particularly as, you know, for lack of a better term, privileged white people. You know, we don't have that experience. I mean, even the term white privilege is such a sensitive topic nowadays. You know, I think a lot of people that live in these communities, these rougher communities, you know, they hear the word privilege and they think, you know, that they're somehow, you know, that means that they're better off. And it's like, it's very difficult to tell a person who's, you know, a white man's on a minimum wage job that they're privileged. So I understand it to a degree, but at the same time, like, that's why I feel like the language needs to be better so that we can get the points across properly and not alienate people. But yeah, no, I am glad the conversations are being had, even if they're not in the way we'd like them, and hopefully that we can continue this on and things can get better. But it looks like we've still got a lot of work to do as well. But yeah, so moving on, finally, we will make things a bit lighter. Not on Johnny's end though, because we are starting with his team, Arsenal, and a defeat in the North London derby against Spurs, 2-0. You have done better tonight so far. I believe it's still currently 2-1 in the Dundalk game, or if it's finished. I haven't been keeping an eye on it, to be honest. But yeah, they're definitely not the bigger game of the week. So what are your thoughts?
Do you know what? It wasn't I didn't enjoy it Sunday by any stretch of the imagination. Do you know, it wasn't a bad performance. Unfortunately, it was a Jose Mourinho masterclass. You know, we did dominate the game, like possession wise and everything else, but we just didn't create enough chances, which has been the problem. Spurs, you know, they set up very well. 2 good goals from Son and Kane. Yeah, it wasn't great. I was a little bit annoyed with Thomas Partey, the way he came off. I know he's injured, but you know, you stay there and fill the gap, don't you? You know, you taught that at a young age. You know, you just stay there. You know, make a problem for yourself. Yeah, it wasn't great in the slightest. One thing I do want to mention though, and I do think it's not getting spoken about enough, is Harry Kane, right? I don't like the way he kind of backs into players, and
I've seen a lot of clips of that circulating social media
a few times this season, and he keeps winning free kicks, and you know he's gonna hurt someone one day. That is a really and my mate, he keeps getting away with it. I'm not saying just as an Arsenal fan, it happened. Was it Lacazette? I think he done it too, but he's done it a few times this season, and I think the referees have got to keep an eye on that because he's gonna hurt someone. I think.
At least he touches the ball rather than a dummy end, though.
Oh, yeah. We're winning 2-1 against Dundalk. I think it's still 2-1. I don't know.
Yeah, still 2-1.
Yeah.
I mean, when I watch Arsenal, all I can think of is how is Hector Bellerin still playing?
I mean,
what is wrong with Hector Bellerin? He was so good when he broke through. He was so attacking and everything. I watch him now and I'm like, what happened to this player? Like, I you know, people say, I think a lot of people like to criticize his lifestyle, saying it's because he's vegan, it's because he's interested in fashion, it's because he's slagged off AFTV. For me, he's just not good anymore. It's nothing to do with his lifestyle. It's just, you know, and I think Arteta, generally, you know, people can say it's not his team, but he keeps playing, you know, Xhaka and Bellerin. So I don't have that much sympathy because I can't believe the price you guys paid for Cedric Suarez. It was £14 million.
Oh, something like that. Yeah.
For a right back who never plays.
Yeah, Bellerin. I mean, there's been 15 foul throws this season, and Bellerin's got 5 of them. Jesus. Do you know what I mean? I think every time he does a foul throw, I'm gonna chop a tree down. I think. Honestly, yeah. It's terrible. Bellerin, I loved him. I mean, I bought a shirt with his name on the back a few years ago, and he was quick. He's good at going forward. Good defender. He's gone backwards, and I'm not even sure why he's in the team. Really, I think I much prefer to see Maitland-Niles in that team. To be honest, I think he's a better defender. But
I think Maitland-Niles should play midfield. Personally, I think you guys need legs. You don't have any legs. I mean, I find it quite funny because Lucas Torreira is like one of the best players in Spain at the moment in Atletico.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought AFTV up. They're coming in my little rant later on. They are.
Oh man, I can't wait for that. So yeah, we'll stick with the team for the time being then. At the risk of rubbing salt in the wound more, looking at the table right now, Arsenal I believe are 15th in the table and they're 5 or 6 places off the relegation zone. Points off the relegation zone, excuse me. And this isn't me suggesting they're going to go down, don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm suggesting, but when you look at where they are now and how they've been doing over the last couple of years for the both of you, I mean, you've both been watching Arsenal a lot longer than I have. I mean, so you have a lot more memories than I do of them being, a top Premier League club, and alongside the likes of Man United and Man City and Liverpool that they are now. Do you? I mean, to me, I just don't see Arsenal as that sort of top club anymore. I wonder what you guys think.
Well, at the moment we're not. No, absolutely not. I mean, I don't think we'll go down, but at the moment it's relegation form. There's no denying that. I never ever say Arsenal and relegation in the same sentence, but you can't carry on playing where we're playing, because it's a massive game on Sunday. I mean, it's a massive game because we beat Dundalk tonight. Yeah, we should beat Dundalk. If we don't beat Burnley at home on Sunday, then I've lost for words. I'll be It's massive. We've got 3 games. Next 3 games are massive. Burnley at home, Southampton at home, then Everton away. We need 9 points. Get 9 points, then we go up to 7th or 6th, and they go, "Joe, what? Okay, that's 9 points. Best big 9. We've got to get 9 points. We can't get 6. We can't lose. We've got to win the next 3 games." And I'm not Arteta out by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of Arsenal fans are because they're idiots. Mainly AFTV. I'll get to them later. But if we lose against Burnley, I don't. Will our board get rid of him? I just don't know.
He's got a worse record than Unai Emery in the league, hasn't he? So, but I think his FA Cup win buys him time, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
probably,
so.
Yeah.
The one thing is, I just don't like. I think when Wenger left, people were like, "Oh, we need, Arsenal need to do this, rebuild." But the style of play has deteriorated so much. I don't really enjoy watching Arsenal play anymore. Whilst the bad times, yeah, you were defended badly, but the patterns of play were still nice. There was a lot of creative football. There was, you would still beat teams at home, like flat track bully teams at home, win 4-2, 5-2, whatever. That doesn't even happen now. You're struggling to score without penalties.
I know. And I said last week on the podcast, under Wenger, even as bad as we defended sometimes, you'd always feel that Arsenal would score a goal. Who we're playing against, we could play the best team in the world. You go, so what? We'll always score or create chances because we've got good players at the moment. We're not creating chances. And, it's a very frustrating time. As I say, it's a massive game on Sunday. I mean, that is, I never thought I'd say big game and Burnley in the same sentence either. But it's massive. It's a massive game for the club, really. I mean, the Europa League, yeah, we're doing well in that, and if we win that and qualify, Champions League. Imagine Arsenal in Champions League without defence. Jesus.
Yeah, you might need to hide behind the sofa for a few of those games if that comes to that. And as for you're probably sick of us talking about them now. But as for Spurs, I said that this was a massive run for them, a lot of big games, and they've come through pretty much all of them. But the next week is their biggest test by far. Against the might of Crystal Palace. Can they survive Christian Benteke for 90 minutes? Okay, no, but seriously, the Liverpool game for me is the final ultimate test for them, and will be the hardest for me by far because it's between those two for the title, and especially it's at Anfield as well. Andrew and Chelsea as well, but I feel like they've already done the Chelsea game, so I was sort of putting them to one side for the minute. But you're right, they are in the race as well. But Andrew, where do you see the race going from here?
For me, Spurs, they could be in a title race, but Harry Kane has to not get injured, basically. Yep. Always has a season where he's out for 10 to 12 games, or he rushes back and he's not fully fit and he takes him a few games to get back in. If that doesn't happen, then I think Spurs could push for the title. But if it does, because Son is playing great, but a lot of it is the way he links with Harry Kane. So if you take that away, I think their backup striker is Vinicius, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not in Harry Kane's class, I think, to be fair to Harry Kane, the assists, the way he distributes the ball, the way he links up, he's improved so much, and he's clearly worked on that. So he deserves a lot of credit. But even his goal, the way it just went in was just, I mean, he's clinical. He's not for me, I'd still put Lewandowski ahead of him in terms of number 9, but still he would be for me the second best number 9 in the world at the moment, with Haaland in third, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Kane's he's different class. Kane, he took his goal well. It wasn't great defending, to be fair. Just let him cut inside. outside, whether it was just dreadful defending all round, really.
Yeah, it's hard to appreciate a good goal when your defending is terrible. I speak from a lot of experience there.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great. But I think I've seen us play a lot worse than that, and it wasn't. I wasn't angry by the performance. It wasn't. It was just Spurs. They counter-attack. It was like it was a Mourinho masterclass. No, it was. I think Arsenal could still be playing now and still want to score a goal. To be honest, we just never felt like for a goal.
Yeah, Bale doesn't even get a look in, does he? He doesn't even go off the bench.
On the bench, he's quite happy. I think he's smiling away.
Yeah, good old XG coming in handy again. But speaking of XG, we'll move on to my team, Paris. We mentioned them. A game against West Brom, and I'm still in a bit of shock, to be honest with you, given the absolutely woeful performance against Newcastle the week before. And to be honest, the first half was pretty poor as well. I think we did. I mean, when we got the goal in the first 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes were good. But after that, we just dropped off massively. West Brom got a deserved equaliser, in my opinion. And then obviously the VAR happened, which I'm going to be honest, I didn't think was a red card. I'm going to get that out of the way now. To be honest, it probably is consistent with the rules. That's the worst part, because players have been sent off for stupid stuff like that already this season. But still, I mean, if that's a red card, then, I don't want to say game's gone quite yet, but it probably has. But either way, even with the red card, we have a history of just not taking advantage of it and sitting back and getting cautious and not taking advantage and just, either scraping a draw or even conceding a late loser. So, but to be fair, we didn't bottle it. We absolutely came flying out the block second half, and my God, we got our reward. Obviously, Zaha was the big piece. Let's not pretend that him being in the team wasn't the main reason that we won, because he gave us so much more depth and pace, and just his quality as well is unbelievable. But Eze as well had his best game in a Palace shirt so far, and that's saying something for me, because he's had some good ones already. I think the play with him and Zaha, you can tell they love playing together. The chemistry they've got already is brilliant. And also as well, I've of course Benteke, and I've got a number. I said I had a really good stat in the chat. This is probably my favourite stat of the year so far. Christian Benteke has more goals from open play this season than Sergio Aguero, Anthony Martial, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang combined. That's nuts. That is unbelievable. You told me that a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah, Aguero's hardly played. I think that's so hard.
He's still Sergio Aguero. I'm going to take it. And the other two have played a lot, so that's...
Yeah,
I mean, Aubameyang is the biggest surprise for me, but there you go. Yeah, but either way, I wasn't expecting that at all, and it was exactly the pick-me-up we needed after the last two. And I think Spurs, it'll be hard to bounce back against Spurs, in my opinion, because they're doing so well right now, and they're suited well to play us, in my opinion. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought Paris played really well on Sunday against West Brom. It's a good performance. I was expecting 5-1, I must admit. I was not expecting that. I mean, Zaha's different class. When he wants to be Zaha, unbelievable. I mean, is he playing well because he loves Palace, or is he playing well because he's thinking, I can get myself in the window? I don't know. Maybe he's cynical, but he's a good player. There's no denying. And Eze, I like him.
Well, so he doesn't move to Arsenal.
Oh.
Yeah, well, he has said Champions League club, so that's looking a long way away for the time being.
Championship at the moment, maybe.
Yeah, he's had enough of that in his life.
In that game, though, if I was Slaven Bilic, Pereira is their most creative player, kind of their go-to guy to get sent off at that stage of the game. He's just asking, it's just really stupid. I hope he was fine, because petulance when your team has hardly not scoring goals, struggling to get victories, doing nothing really. West Brom, since they've got, I've said this before, Norwich and West Brom are the most pointless teams to be in the Premier League. They always come up and they go down. But to do that at that stage of the game, Palace did well to take advantage. Zaha, like you said, and Eze were excellent. Benteke, I think if I was a West Brom defender, I'd have to look at myself in the mirror for a few days to think that Benteke scored twice against me. But
to be fair, I did the same with Joel Linton last week. So
yeah. Exactly. I think to be fair, Benteke actually has had good seasons in the Premier League. Joel Linton hasn't. But yeah, if I was a West Brom defender, I would. Or I think, to be honest, Pereira ruined that game for West Brom, and Palace took advantage, and rightly so. But yeah, it's not looking good for West Brom, I think, and Sheffield United look nailed on to go down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I predicted Bilic as my first sacking of the season, and reports are saying that he has the Newcastle game to save his job this weekend. So Andrew, do you think you're going to get him sacked?
Is it his fault? West Brom come up, they spend very little money. I just, it's like the Daniel Farker thing last year. What's the point of sacking him? You've kind of prepared to go down by not really going for it generally. I think it's harsh to sack him. Fulham the same. Like, why would you? It's not their fault that you haven't spent money. Like, they're on a hiding to nothing. So personally, I don't think it's Slaven Bilic. I think Slaven Bilic is a good manager. I think he did quite well with West Ham. He did a great job with Croatia. Who are you going to get? Who's going to? I mean, if they go for Sam Allardyce, maybe I would get rid of him. But if they're not going to get someone who's a specialist in survival, I don't really see the point in changing.
Yeah, I think it's a race this weekend. I think if West Brom lose, I see him getting sacked. Or I mean, if United lose heavily to Man City, I think Ollie's gone. That's my opinion. I think he's gone.
I don't think Ollie's gonna go.
Yeah.
Can't see Ollie going. I think they will if they get rid of him. They'll wait till the end of the season.
Possibly. I can see them sort of doing a knee-jerk reaction and bringing someone else to keep them up. Not sure who though.
United are on a good run of form in the league as well, I think.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I was still talking about West Brom. Yeah, no, my bad.
Okay. I think they're on a good run of form in the league. They were disastrous against Leipzig, though.
Speaking of which, Andrew, as your team didn't play last weekend, you're going to get to pick a game of your choice. Since we haven't got enough time to do all of us this week, you're going to get to pick a game to cover this weekend. So which one do you want to go for?
I think Newcastle, West Brom.
Well, I meant last week, as in the game to review from last week. But yeah.
Last week.
Or midweek, Champions League is also fine.
I think the United game from the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire for 80 million still is just. I mean, whoever in Leicester sanctioned that deal and got that price, he's just not a world, like, he's not a top defender. He's a decent defender, but 80 million, the world's most expensive defender, is just. I mean, I think De Gea, you can criticise him on the Kluivert goal as well. Pogba's agent before the game talking about. I mean, I'm betting Pogba's agent. Like, if he wants to leave, just leave. It's just every single time. He's not even that good. It's just. Yeah, I think for United, I found it very funny that one of the fan channels for game point, when United were top of the group, they were like, who said this was the group of death? And now they're out.
United stand, I think that was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Silly. Always wait till the end. It's like last year when Everton were 2-0 up, I think, against Newcastle in the 90th minute. A fan tweeted, "Oh, great 3 points on the train home now." And then obviously we scored twice in injury time.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, or Brighton fans telling us every year to mind the gap, and then they always finish below us. Haven't done for about 10 years, but there you go.
Always wait till the end. Don't tweet, post anything till you know for sure.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Johnny, Arsenal 4-1 against Dundalk now. I don't know if you're keeping an eye on it. Balogun with the goal and an assist from the bench. I think he's from the bench anyways. But if he started. But either way, yeah. Balogun, obviously, they want to keep a hold of him, Arsenal. So, yeah, him to do well now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, getting beating the mighty Dundalk. That's it. Arsenal are back. That's it. Back.
Yeah, but as for Man United, yeah, I mean, Leipzig didn't even need the mighty Alex Soroth to take them down. But yeah, it's. I mean, I actually thought United would pull it off because they're the sort of. That's always the sort of result that Ole manages to get. When he needs a result, he'll get it, particularly away from home as well. His record is a lot better, but they were absolutely woeful. Particularly the first half. Second half, they picked up a lot, and they were very, very close. I thought when they got those 2 goals in next quick succession, I thought they were going to do it. I thought they were going to nick a third, but they didn't in the end. And I think that they were just. I don't know. They really do lack an urgency, Man United, until they absolutely have to. Like, I don't know why they didn't just. There is, I mean, I understand, given that I'm a team, given I support a team managed by Roy Hodgson, I feel like I'm well placed to comment on this, but there's so much cautiousness where there doesn't need to be. Like, if they'd actually. Leipzig's defence isn't the best in the world. They're not known for being too defensive, and particularly without Werner. They're there to be got at. And if United had just come out the traps a bit more urgently, like they did in the second half, they could well have nicked a first goal and then potentially have sat back for the rest of the game. I think they would have been better doing that. Although the defense isn't the greatest, but they would have had a better shot in my opinion because they do have the players to counter attack. And I don't know. I don't know what to make of United anymore.
Yeah, I think it's United. I mean, and I think the last 5 victories have all come from being behind. And you can't keep going 2-0 down and getting results because you get found out. And that's what happened at Leipzig. And same as the weekend. If they go 1-0 down, 2-0 against Man City, are they going to come back? I don't think they will. And Ollie comes out and says they were unlucky. There was nothing unlucky. I mean, the 3-2 was very, very flattering, to be honest. It could have been 5 or 6 to Leipzig, to be fair. And to come out and say you're unlucky. You weren't unlucky. You was outplayed. And, I mean, was it the second goal? Was very, very fortunate. It wasn't unlucky.
It's a really good chance to make it 4-0 as well.
Yeah, and Leipzig were a good side, and, I mean, not probably not as potent without Werner, but they still score goals. And, I think that even that Dayot Ambakano wasn't even playing on the other night. So their players out and they still managed to outplay United. And, I fear for United. I don't fear for United. I think it's hilarious when they lose because their fans are hilarious because they think they're the best team in the world when they win a game and they get brought down to earth again, which is quite funny.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, it's United. If we talk about Arsenal not being a top club, maybe not as extreme as that right now, but United look a long way away off from what they were before. And given a lot of teams have, what a lot of teams have done, they've done to a lot of teams in the past, stopped us winning a trophy multiple times. I can't say that I'm particularly sorry for them, but at the same time, and also some of their fans as well. I mean, they really are the Real Madrid of England in terms of ungrateful fans. They have such high expectations, and it's understandable where it comes from, given the amount of success they've had over such a long period of time. But it's not justified either, in my opinion. Teams rise and fall all the time. I mean, look at teams like Villa and Everton, who used to dominate the league and haven't won it for years. So there's some arrogance in their fan base as well, for sure, but not quite to the same degree. So I think it's going to be a long way back for United. But yeah, we'll move on to the Let's All Laugh At now, and we'll stay with you, Andrew. What have you got for yours?
Mine was Sky Sports. They posted a story where they said Manchester United are linked with Kieran Tierney, but they showed a picture of Kieran Trippier.
Yeah.
Which is just so stupid. I think they meant Kieran Trippier because they talked about an Atletico Madrid defender, but they kept referring to him as Kieran Tierney, which just tells me whoever's writing the article probably isn't a football fan and is doing some sort of having to do a week in the sports pages or something like that. But yeah, that's probably my one. And also Antonio Conte, game perfectly set up, just needs to beat Shakhtar at home. And they mess up and draw 0-0, and they're out of they're not even in Europa League. They've gone completely out of the Champions League. So yeah, Mr. Toupé is sadly out of the Champions League.
Yeah. The media does that all the time. Notably with black players, I've noticed. We talked about the racism before, so I don't want to say it's good to see a white player have the same thing, but at least
there was a bad story about 90 minutes. They showed a picture of I think it was Callum Hudson-Odoi with Messi, and they asked Tammy Abraham, that must have been a great time for you to Messi. Just really bad research.
It's kind of like when they I can't remember what paper it was. They showed a picture of Romelu Lukaku or Stormzy and said it's Romelu Lukaku.
Oh man. To be fair, I support a club that unveiled Max Meyer as their signing and released a picture of another Schalke player instead. I can't even remember his name. And that's the official club that's done that, so I guess I'm not one to talk. But
my favourite misidentity story is when Newcastle, this is probably back in 1998, Kenny Dalglish said, I want you to go and sign Pires, the French player, and the scout thought so Kenny Dalglish was talking about Robert Pires at the time, who I think was playing in Marseille or someone, and the scout didn't really check the name or anything like that, and he went and bought Lionel Pires, who was a goalkeeper for Cambridge at the time. And
oh my God.
So Kenny Dalglish ended up with a goalie rather than a world-class left midfielder who'd go and win everything. Yeah. What about you? Who's your Let's All Laugh? It's Arsenal Fan TV.
It's called Let's All Laugh At.
Doing my job for me, Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really Let's All Laugh At. It made me really annoyed me. One of AFTV, I'm sure you know, Troops. Started selling.
Is
on
he still at AFTV? I thought he'd left.
No,
he's
he's
gone.
there. He's still
No,
there.
he's not
No, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, after the Spurs game, he on his website or whatever, he started selling Arteta out T-shirts, and it really annoyed me because I'm like, I don't, I'm all for making money. Don't get me wrong, but you're trying to make money out of Arsenal doing badly, and it just really annoyed me. Like, you support the club. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't support the manager, that's fine, but don't. It really annoyed me. And he's getting all angry in videos like the Arsenal AFT watch along, which is the biggest pile of turtle I've ever watched in my entire life. And all shouting and swearing and blah blah. It's like, hold on, mate, you're trying to make money. If Arteta gets sacked, you're gonna make money out of it. Really annoyed me, and that's not funny. Well, to me, it's not. Really annoyed.
He's the biggest flip flop ever. He was like, Arteta's my man after he won the FA Cup final. I fully back him. It's going to take time, and I think that's the problem. These fan channels, they are good. I'm not gonna lie, I watch Arsenal fan TV all the time.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I don't, funny enough.
They don't give balanced views. There are some fans on it who do give balanced views. So for me, someone like Lee Gunner, who's not on AFTV, but he's got his own channel, Lee Judges, they're really good fans to listen to. But if you listen to people like DT, like Ty is the most interesting, delusional person I've ever met. I think he's so funny. He's like, but yeah, they're not going to give balanced views. And to be honest, that's what their channel feeds on, like the extreme and the hyperbole. So, but yeah, Troops is like the biggest flip-flopping fan going. If you Arsenal win 3 games, he'll be like, oh, Arteta is the best manager in the world. Like, so.
Yeah. And it's just really frustrating. Like, I mean, I do watch it occasionally because it's like, I say it's amusing. It's more like, well, it's not. But I mean, Ty. I've met him a couple of times, Ty, and he is very delusional. Every wears his Arsenal. I'm pretty sure he must sleep in an Arsenal pajamas, in an Arsenal quilt.
I really want to know how he affords everything.
Yeah, there's that clip of him on like Sky Sports before the game. And it's like he's just walking past the camera, and it's like he's one of the players. I love that clip so much. It's great.
I would love to know what he does for a living before AFC, because I just want to know what he does, because I just can't imagine him doing anything like. But I mean, with Ty as well, I love the way he refers to the players by their first name. He's like, "Oh, Alexander tried hard today," or "Reece did a decent job." Like he's best friends with them or something. Like I do like that about. But yeah, I think it's a great channel for entertainment. But yeah, I wouldn't take it so seriously for football opinion.
There are a couple on there that I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind Lee Judges. I think he's all right. DT, he's a polarising character. You either love him or you hate him.
I'm not a fan personally.
And sometimes he speaks sense, and then sometimes he doesn't. He's one of them.
He's very aggressive in his way. I just think. I know he gets stereotyped as that, but he can be very aggressive. Ever since I saw that where he fights with the United Stand on that Blood Brothers show.
He's the kind of bloke that likes to dish it out a lot, but also gets rattled quite easily. Yeah,
he's one of them. As I say, I've met DT a couple of times at the Arsenal, and he's all right in person. He's okay. He's very vocal. He's very vocal with one thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm very jealous of his job. I mean, he just talks about our football all day.
I mean, getting paid to talk about football all day. I mean, you can't be quite jealous of him, to be fair. It's if you're not an Arsenal fan, you love AFTV because you can laugh at us. I think
just hope you don't expect me to start paying you guys anytime soon. Not while we're still on 10 views a week. But yeah, as for quickly entertaining the Arteta thing. I mean, I understand like there is an argument to be made that he's not doing enough quickly enough. But like to sell T-shirts, wanting of Arteta out at this stage, like come on, like that does sniff of opportunity and and trying to exploit a situation.
Yeah, exactly. And you get angry when Arsenal lose, but then someone will go and buy a T-shirt saying Arteta out. So like you can't be both. Do you know what I mean? It's not working at the moment for Arteta, and I'm still 100% behind him because I'd hate us to get rid of him and then become a sacking club, and we don't want that. You got to trust the process. I hate to say that, trust the process, but he's been there about a year now. I know we're 15th, we're not doing very well, but we won the FA Cup. We took over in December. Someone said to me, "You'll win the FA Cup." And I know the Community Shield's not a massive trophy, but to win two
on penalties. It's like Arsenal fans keep saying this. We won the Community Shield. We beat Liverpool. You won on penalties. You didn't outplay them. You didn't destroy them. You won on penalties. Some of the times when you hear people talk about these victories over teams on penalties, I just think you drew the match, actually. You just won on penalties. Still an achievement. It was a friendly, but you won on penalties.
I do agree with you. I do agree. But I think things of the Community Shield is a very funny one, isn't it? Because if you lose it, the Community Shield, it's like us as a disaster. If you win it, it's only the Community Shield. But if someone said to me last year when Emery got the sack, you'd win the FA Cup and beat Liverpool in the Community Shield and win 2 trophies. Joe, what?
It's not a trophy.
Of course it's a trophy. Absolutely. I said if you want
it's a trophy. It's a first hand.
It's a trophy. Absolutely trophy.
Okay, well, before we actually have time left on the show, I want to do my Let's All Laugh At. Because I've gone for a slightly different one. I've gone all the way down to League 2 and Bolton Wanderers for a couple of reasons. First of all, their most recent result was going to be my game of the week had we got to it. 6-3 at home to Port Vale. So Port Vale 6, Bolton 3. They were 6-1 up at one point before scoring 2 relatively late goals. And I want to point out as well, the reason I highlighted this was because on this day, 10 years ago in the Premier League, Bolton was 6th in the Premier League table. Now they're 12th in League 2, having just lost 6-3 to Port Vale. So, I know they've had a lot of financial troubles, and they are lucky to still be a club, but...
They played Bayern Munich in the Europa League and all that.
Yeah, they did. I think they won there, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm in Northwest base, so I went to a lot of Bolton games when Bolton played Newcastle. It's crazy to think that club is in League 2 now. They were in Europe. I think they got to a League Cup final and lost to Middlesbrough, if I remember correctly. I think, people say, obviously, we all laugh and say, but I think Sam Allardyce leaving destroyed that club because they've never recovered, and they've gone. Shows you sometimes when you've got something so good. And the issue was that Sam Allardyce wanted to stay, but he felt there was no ambition from the board, and I'm pretty sure they must regret that when they look at it. They're now in League 2. I mean, League 2 is just... These clubs like Bolton, Sunderland, how they're in those divisions with the fans and the stadiums they have is crazy.
Yeah, under Allardyce, like you say, under Allardyce, I remember they were a top 8 club consistently, top 6, top 8, and in Europe multiple times, and always in. They were a big club at the time. And it's weird to associate Sam Allardyce with Europe nowadays, and not mid-table / relegation scraps. But that's how good they were. I don't necessarily. I mean, I suppose laughing at might be a bit harsh, but it's more just incredulous to see exactly where they've gone and where they've come from.
Yeah, I think I'm sure they will come back and probably push for League One and Championship. But you have to be so careful because it can look how long it took Leeds to get back to the Premier League. It took them 16 years, and
they didn't even fall as far. They only were ever in League One.
Yeah, Leeds is a huge club. Nottingham Forest, the same. Won the European Cup twice. We've been in League One a few years. I know they're back in the Championship, but still, you can get on a bad run and it can be really hard to recover. That's why it's so important not to get relegated. Yeah.
Okay. Well, out of those 3, I mean, which ones do you want to go for?
I think much as I love to do Arsenal, I think it's the Sky Sports with Kieran Tierney and Kieran Trippier.
Yeah, I was going to go for that one too. Yeah.
That is like I'd say someone's on holiday for the week and it's like Dave's off for a week and Sandra from financial. Sandra, can you do something for us? Yeah, Kieran Trippier. Oh, all right, okay. Oh, Kieran Tierney. Yeah, that'll do. Just get it out there. Get it out.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Like that. And these are the people we're trusting to educate us about racism. What could possibly go wrong?
Absolutely.
I think my laugh will be the Sky News presenters because they criticised the COVID for so long.
Yeah, your non-football. Let's all laugh at. Yeah, I mean we can fact.
Kate Burley deserves a special mention.
Oh God, yeah, don't get me started on them. But yeah, on that note, that's about all we're time for this episode. Thanks for listening to this episode. Be sure to drop us a like and a follow, whatever platform you're on. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify at Let's All Laugh at a Football Podcast, as well as Twitter at LALA_podcast. Be sure to check out Johnny's work at Life's a Pitch. Be sure to check out all our social media, links in the description as always. Thanks to Johnny and Andrew for joining me. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.